I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. And if I have to drag you by your pendejo, all this drama, and I have like 20 missed calls from my mom. Tell me like how things were gonna be, and I was like, okay, sure. Hey beautiful, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, hi, my name is Alexisjayda and welcome. Today's notification shout out goes to Bevy. I hope I didn't butcher your name. Thank you so much for all your love and support. I seriously appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. If you guys want to be part of the notification squad, all you have to do is just like this video, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment down below. And your comment can possibly be the next notification shout out. I know some people just like watching the video and they don't like to comment, but commenting really does help, and it gives me engagement and it pushes the video out to you guys. So I really appreciate it when you guys do all the steps and you guys leave a comment and we get to interact. I really do appreciate it. Holy I've missed you guys like so much. Siri, why are you going crazy right now? I've seriously missed you guys so much. It has been so freaking long since we've done a nanny video. I know I did another story time about me prima fea. Just kidding. I just feel so happy. I feel so happy. I'm finally back. I did do Vlogmas. For those who don't know about my vlog channel, I do have a vlog channel. I will leave it here. I was pretty active on my vlog channel and I was really happy because you guys know I used to vlog a lot, and then you guys were like, Alexis, are you gonna do Vlogmas, girl? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna really try. There were some days where I had a bunch in with other days, but we did it. So I just want to thank you guys so much for showing me support over there as well. It really does mean a lot, and you guys get to see another side of me, and you guys get to see my family and the ones I cherish and keep closest to me. I feel like we have a lot to catch. Look at me over here playing my hair. I got cute for you guys. I was like, I have to be cute in the cute. I know it's still December. I have a lot going on. Okay, it's December still, so we have the elf ears, but I do want to play with this package, which is the Mandalorian. Is that how you say it? Mandalorian? I don't know why, it always feels weird. Look how freaking cute the bag is. There's two palettes that they have. Merry Christmas, you guys. It has been a year. I'm telling you, it has been a motherfucking year. So much has been going on. I feel like I got to catch you guys up. So sit back, relax, let me know what you guys are doing, if you guys are eating, if you guys are cooking, if you guys are crafting, if you guys are just chilling, if you guys are driving somewhere, let me know where you guys are driving. Of course, when you pull over, I would love to know. Who are you guys watching this with? Let me know down below. I would love to know. And I love you guys so freaking much. I hope you guys can feel my happiness through the screen. If you guys are having a bad day, I'm giving you guys some good vibes, good vibes, good vibes, good vibes. You're gorgeous, you're beautiful, I love you, and I really appreciate you so freaking much, and I hope you guys feel it when I say that I appreciate you guys and I love you guys. I seriously, sincerely mean it from the bottom of my heart, the bottom of my soul. I hope you guys know that I really do, and I hope we get to meet one day and I get to freaking squeeze you and hug you. There has been quite a few fan bam who I do meet, and I'm like, what did I say, what did I say? And I bring it in, and we hug, and you guys can just feel just like my love. And for those who are not a hugger, hey, I got you. Okay, on my arm. Oh, I thought they were ashy for a minute. I was gonna like, ooh, sorry about that. All right, so let's begin with the story time. It's been a minute. So like I mentioned, and I think it was Instagram, this story was going to make me extremely emotional, and also I was like, should I put on makeup or not? But I think me taking some time, because I know it probably feels like she's gone. Why is she gone for so long? It's a lot to kind of relive these feelings, and then real emotions are happening as well with like family, friends, cousins, and you know, them. It's just so freaking much, and sometimes I just need to just because it's a lot. And I feel like I do have support when I do go in my funk, but I feel at times I am too much of a burden, where it's like, dang, again. And sometimes I'm good, sometimes I'm just really good. But I think where the holidays came around, it just kind of took like a different toll on me, and my mom being in town for as long as she was triggered the hell out of me. And even though I kept trying to like, it's gonna be good, it's gonna be good, like, nah, I'm like, it's gonna be good, like, we're not gonna fight, we're not talking. All right, so we're just going to pick up where we left off after I just rambled on for a little bit. I hope you guys don't mind because I'm trying to catch you guys up. And I think I need to do a get ready with me too, where I just answer some of you guys' questions if you guys are curious. leave those questions down below too. And it's okay if you guys leave more than one comment. It makes me laugh so hard when you guys are like, I'm so sorry that I'm leaving more than one comment. It's okay. I freaking love that. I enjoy that. I feel like it really does feel like a FaceTime call. Like you leaving more than one comment. So like, it's okay. I love it. Because imagine being on a FaceTime call and you only make one comment. It's fine. I really do appreciate it. So the next day I woke up. My mom has left me all these calls. I'm going to kind of go back and forth with the past and the now. The way that my mom is, she is very rude. I hate even saying that, but my mom is. The way she talks, her tone, it's always at a 10. And I know she means well, and that's I don't know, me making excuses for her as well. But I feel like she means well, but she's always at a 10, and she always has this sort of attitude of even if she is in the wrong, she's upset, and it's one of those things like, well, you better let me because I'm upset. For the longest, I would always be like, you know, that's, yeah, it's because like all things were crazy and it's just an emotion. And then sometimes you even see it on TV where like people are going through something crazy and they kind of just like lash out. For my mom, I feel like it was all the time where it was just like, damn, you're mad about everything. You're just mad about life. Like you're just mad about living. And it was just very, very hard. And I'm talking about even being now, like my mom visiting and stuff, she still is doing that. And you guys, it was so freaking hard. Because when I was younger, even though I had a tone with my mom when I was younger and I would argue with her and I would fight with her, it wasn't like the tone that I had now. And I feel kind of guilty because I gave my mom the same tone back. And now we're not talking. And it's fine. It's one of those talks where it's like we're not talking like we would all the time on the phone, like for 2 hours, 3 hours. We're not doing any of that. It's a very like minimal communication, and that's fine. I think we probably have to do it that way because my mom wants a mother and daughter relationship in me to sort of just like respect her, and I have that friendship in my mind with my mom of she is my mom, but at the same time she's my friend, because I'm still healing my inner child and I'm still healing me, and it's very hard to give her the respect that she wants when I have so much pent up anger still. And I thought I didn't. I thought that I had healed from it. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, because I'm actually like, not unfortunately. I just have things to work through and we're just not there yet. So I look at the phone, I see all these missed calls and my voicemails are just her being so upset that I am not answering, that I was asleep and I didn't hear it. And it's not one of those like, pick up, call me when you get back. It's like, why the F aren't you answering? What's the point of you having an effing phone? And I get that, because sometimes you know, call your kid, your cousin, your family, and you are worried, you are stressed, and you're like, what's the point of having a phone if you don't answer? But my mom was just like gangsta talk, where it was like I didn't even want to call her back because I feel like I was gonna get my ass beat, like. And I was sleeping. Like she was calling like super late, like let's say if it's like 3, 2 in the morning, super freaking late. And the last that we had heard is that you might have been locked up. And so she is just really upset and yelling at me when, mind you, I am super young. Like, okay, you're calling me because she's like, I need you to call this person, I need you to do this. Like she wanted me to do like all these like grown moves for her, and I couldn't. So as I'm clearing the crusties out of my eyes, listening to her voicemails, I'm getting upset, and she's pretty much telling me that hurry and call back. Like I don't know if I'm gonna even be here in the place that she was at, and that she's just so, oh my God, when I get out, I'm grounded, and that I better not go anywhere, that I better not even go and babysit, that she is just so pissed off, and that, do you hear me? And so just screaming, and is so pissed off that I did not answer these phone calls. Now, I don't know if my phone was on mute, on silent or whatever, or if I was just really tired because of the day that I freaking had. I get my clothes on, get dressed, and I go out to the sala, the living room, and I talk to my mom's friend, and I tell her like, hey, has my mom called you? And she's like, no, she hasn't. And I'm like, okay, well, listen. So I'm like having her listen to these voicemails. And she's like, well, why didn't she just call me? I was like, I don't know. Maybe she didn't remember your phone number. I don't know. So I'm like telling her everything. And she's like, all right, let's call the number that she said to call. So we call that number back. In one of the voicemails, my mom's like, call this number, 801, 801, 801. And I was like, okay. So we call the number back and we're like, hey, so-and-so there. Who? No, I don't know, so-and-so. Or like, she just called using this phone. Like, are you sure? So it's kind of hard to talk to crackheads because they always be like, who this? I ain't no snitch. What you talking about? It's really hard. It's really, really hard. Because then they want to be like, what you gonna do for me if I give you that information? Like, bitch, nothing. I'm trying to get a hold of my mom. Like, you know? So I'm gonna call him Jimmy. Crackhead Jimmy was like, well, what you gonna do for me? Like, what you gonna do for me? And we're like, nothing. So we hang up and I'm all pissed off because it always made me so mad that my mom would put herself in the situations. Now me and my mom will argue and she'd be like, I wasn't in the right headspace. I get that, Mom, I get that. But it's just really hard for someone who is not on that same level to understand, where it makes you feel, even as a child and even as a grown-ass woman, why would you not want to be with your family? Like, why would you want to be doing all this, hanging and chilling with the freaking crackheads, making sure that they're good and doing the most and uppity for them, and then you don't even want to do that for us? Like, I don't understand. And even having these conversations with my mother now, it's really, really hard because I just want to like flip the table, and it's really hard and it's very difficult to understand. And I know I have a lot of fam bam who did go through addiction and, you know, try and help me to understand, like, Alexis, like, we're dealing with demons. Like, it's really hard. I get it. I honestly, truly, I get it. It's really hard, but it's really hard to get someone to understand that they love you, but at the time they loved this more, that the demon won. And it's like, there has been so many opportunities for me to just be like, bye, and go and do stuff, but I'm just like, it's not fair that I've always been told, like, you know better, like, you know the consequences. Like, you did too. We had the same handbook, we had the same teachings. Like, what do you mean that I know better? Like, how come you didn't know better? Like, I don't understand. And it pisses me off because if anything, I could have been like, because of all the messed up stuff that happened to me, you don't think I want to silence the pain or like the voices in my head, or about like, or like how your mind can play tricks on you and have you like relive a memory over and over and over and over? You don't think I wanted to silence that pain? So I don't understand the difference between you and me. And you telling me that, like, it's because, like, I'm fighting my demons. Like, I've been fighting my demons too. Like, I sleep with them. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I dream of them. Like, I have constant reminders. So it's very hard to hear that as a reason. You know what I'm saying? And it's really hard when people want to use your own pain and use it. Because, like, for the longest, I would get upset when my mom would be like, when I told her about, like, you know, me being, like, abused and stuff like that by my stepfather, and how she was like, like, in a way, I feel like I broke her. In a way, I felt like I broke her because that's when things started going bad. And it sucks having to deal with that. Because it's not my fault. It's my stepfather's fault. He's the one who broke her, you know? But in a way, I feel like I did it because I was the one to tell her. And I feel like since then, like, she hasn't been right. And then it messes with me because I'm like, I'm the one who should have been going crazy. I'm the one who should have been ruining it. I'm the one. But no. I'm the one who had to put everything together and fix everything and make sure that everything was good and everyone was alright. Because I'm the one who went through the pain. Like, yeah, like, you know, that was your husband and stuff. And like, I get it to a certain extent. I get it. Or how she had it hard growing up. Like, I get it to a certain extent. But, like, it really pisses me off when, like, people are out there using your pain for their benefit. So like it really messes with me even now. So listening to those phone calls and her being upset and me having to call freaking people and being like, you know, my mom, this and that, and her just being in that situation and me having to be worried about her, like I was pissed. And I still get pissed now, y'all. Like I get so freaking mad because y'all don't understand. And if you guys do, like it makes me sad that you guys can relate. But having to call a parent and like look for your parent, or like thinking the worst, it sucks. It really sucks. So having to call and like look for her made me mad. Then we hung up, right? And we get a call back, and it's my mom from the same number. And she's like pissed, like, took you guys long enough, all mad. And I'm like, okay, well, where are you? And she's like, they had released her at this time and that we can go pick her up. Sorry guys, that was a good cry. Thank y'all for letting me cry. I don't want to cry again, but thank y'all, like seriously, for being there. You guys are freaking awesome. You guys are amazing. So she's mad and she's like, they've been releasing me since this time. So my mom and her friend, they start, you know, cussing each other out. They have that type of relationship where like she matches her energy at times. So she's like, well, how the hell are we supposed to know? And this and that. And my mom's like, you guys are always on your effing phone. And then the time I called, and it's like, yes, yeah, but you called late as hell. And like a lot had happened. It just, the timing was just off. And it's not our fault that you're over there doing dumb stuff. Like, why weren't you just here? Like, why are you out in the street? Why are you out in the calle? Like, what are you doing? She tells us to go pick her up. She's going to be at this spot. So we're like, okay. So we get in the car, I get ready, grab my backpack, and since I already had this argument with the Peaches, I was like, I'm definitely not going in. Like I'm cool, I'm chilling, because I know if I call them or tell them like, hey, what's the stitch? They're like, bitch, you're fired. So I didn't even want to mess with it. So I didn't even bother messaging them at all. So as we're driving to this location, I'm going through my phone and I see a message from the ex. Hey, what are you doing? You think we can talk? All of us slanting, you want to talk. Okay. I don't even reply, but I have a big ass smile on my face. Like, knew it. I just have a big smile because I still have feelings for this boy. Okay, this little pendejo stupido mierda. So I have a big old smile. My mom's friend is like, how can you be smiling at a time like this? Like, why are you smiling? So she wants to catch an attitude, and in my head, I'm like, oh, bitch. In my head, I always had so many arguments, so many freaking arguments about, like, you know, just body slamming people, doing the most. And so I tell her, I'm not smiling because about my mom. I'm smiling because I got a text message. And I look at her crazy. Right. The timing and everything just, okay, sure. This is why your mom gets mad. I'm like, I hate how people just assume. Like, I get it too, because there's some smart ass kids that be doing some stupid stuff like that when it's like, you think I'm dumb? I'm not. Don't play that game. I get it. Ooh, Jesus. But it was just one of those things, like timing. Like, timing is everything. And I just look at her and I was like, don't start. I'm like, please don't start. And I just tell her, like, please don't start. And I was in the front, right? I started moving my grown ass to the back seat. Well, not grown ass, teenager ass, to the back seat. And she's like, really when I'm driving, put on your fucking seatbelt, like all pissed off. So I go in the back and I just plump myself, and I was like, I don't know why the fuck I was in the front anyways. Like, we go and we're getting to this neighborhood that's a little, like, you know, sketchy. And I'm like, are you sure? She said over here. She's like, yes, she told you to. I don't know why you're acting like you didn't hear. I was like, I'm not acting like anything. I'm just saying, are you sure? Because I don't think she'd be over here. So we're kind of just like bickering back and forth. You could tell she's getting kind of flustered because of the area that we're at. Are you sure? Like, not even messing with her, but I'm like being like, are you sure? She's like, yes, you heard her too. And I'm like, okay. So we get a call on my phone and I'm like, hello. My mom is like screaming like, where the fuck are you guys at? I'm mad. And I'm like, we're here, street, Pendejo Street. So where are you? Pendejo Street. I didn't tell you over there. Pass the phone to blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So I pass the phone. I'm like, I told you. And so she gets on the phone. She's like, this is the street that you told me. She's like, no, I didn't. She's like, why didn't you ask Alexis? Didn't you hear? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I told her. So now the friend is getting upset looks at me and she like tells my mom pretty much like, come over here, like find a way to get over here because I'm not gonna be wasting any gas and I need gas to get, you know, blah 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 blah. So they start fighting. My mom ends up getting her way. My mom always gets her way. My mom always gets her way. So they're arguing and I'm just annoyed. I'm like super annoyed because I know that as soon as we get her in the car, she is going to have so much attitude that I'm just like, I hope we don't find her anytime soon. Like, I hope it takes a minute to find her because I know I'm just not gonna hear the end of it and I just don't want to deal with it. Like, my mom is very toxic, is sometimes as well, very toxic, and I don't want to, it's just, it's hard when your parent is like this because if there were anybody else, you would have cut them off or you would have had some nasty exchange of words. You know what I'm saying? My mom gets her way. We end up finding her. She is in a whole different street. And I'm like, I freaking knew it. Friend is mad. It's not even saying anything to me. So I'm like, okay. I look at my phone. I get another message. And it is the ex. And he's like saying like, yo, I missed you. I think I keep thinking about what we had and stuff. And you're very, but you know. I'm smiling. Why? Because I'm reading this and it's like, finally, beach, finally. I'm thinking in my head, finally, you're feeling a little bit of what I have felt. So I'm just like smiling and I could feel the laser beams looking at me through the mirror, looking at me, looking at me. So I go like this and so I know she's looking at me. So I'm like, okay, you're gonna have to like smile really big because she's looking at you. So I'm like, acting like I'm texting and I look up and she just looks at me and just looks down. So I'm like, okay. So she knows that's because I'm on my phone and not because I'm over here laughing that we're trying to find my Masha. So we find my mom and she has this friend Jimmy with her. And I already knew she was gonna try and tell Jimmy, yeah, we can give you a ride. My mom would always do shit like that where it's like, even though it wasn't her house, her place, her stuff, she'd always be offering it up because she'd be like, we can get more. Why can't we help? This and that, this and that. Feed us first. Take care of us first and then them. Like, what are you doing? So I tell my mom's friend before he even approaches the door, he's gonna want to ride. She looks at me in the rear, what is it called? The rear mirror? The middle mirror? No, he's not. She's not that stupid. No, she's not. I was like, okay. I'm not calling her stupid, but okay. Okay. How do you think she got to give us a phone call? They probably exchanged favors. And she's like, no, she's not that stupid. I was like, okay. I just kept saying it. Okay. So my mom comes to the car, gives me a nasty ass look. At times I really do feel like my mom hates me. Like, I really do. She'll deny this and she'll deny it, she'll deny this. But even now, as a grown, I feel like there is an ounce of something that my mom does hate me. Because just like the way she looks at me sometimes, it's like with asshole, you know? And I feel it. And I'm just like, damn. I don't know. I just feel it. She might deny it. But it's like one of those things, one of those looks. And she'll be like, it's just my face. But your face is not like that to other people. But I feel like it, you know? So she gave me a nasty ass face. I'm in the back seat. Not even, I don't have a face of like happiness to see her. I just have a face like this, like literally like this. She's like, then I can't even make the face. My mom can make a face. I know you guys tell me like, damn, Jada, looks can kill. Nah, I'm not even pro status. My mom just has that face where it's just like, God damn, like it makes you want to just start like pulling up your pants and like checking this out because you just feel like shit. So she gives me a nasty ass look and I'm like, okay. She opens up my door and she's like, get in the front. And I'm like, okay. And so I look at her friend. I'm like, told you. So her friend, I was gonna say her name. What are you doing? What are you doing? To my mom. And my mom's like, just stop. Just stop. Like she already knew she was gonna start. But my mom, again, I tell you, my mom always makes it seem like she has an attitude even when she's in the wrong. I don't understand it. I don't understand where she gets this from. My mom has that thing where it's called nerve. You got a lot of nerve. And my mom got that. So the friend starts fighting and she's like, no, he's not getting in my car. We don't know him. He could be a serial killer. And my mom's like, shut the, no, he's not. He helped me out. He let me use his phone. I was like, okay, but when I called asking for you, he was like, I don't know, no. And my mom was like, Jade, shut up. And my mom and her friend are fighting. My mom, and then the friend tells Jimmy, we're gonna call him Jimmy, you're not getting in my car. Get the out of my car. And so my mom's like, can you stop? Can you stop? And so my mom's yelling at him to get in the car. My mom's friend is yelling at him to get the hell out of the car. And he's like, so what do I do? I politely look over, get out of her car. And my mom looks at me going, asco. Asco in Spanish, translating to English, would be like with disgust, with like, shit. Like, you don't even look at people like this that you like don't like this is someone that you just like despise. Like, my mom gave me that look of like, and so I you know, I told him like, don't get in her car. My mom's friend tells her, if you don't want to get in the car, to my mom, I'm gonna leave you here. And my mom's like, I'm not gonna get in the car if you don't let him get in the car, which is so dumb, right? I'm just like, oh my god. She says, fine, I'm gonna leave you here. I don't even say nothing because I'm like, I know my mom crazy. My mom crazy. So my mom tells him, get out of the car. And slams the door. Slams it hard. Where I was like I really thought that the freaking window was just gonna like shatter. Okay? She sounded so hard where it's like, oh, you just like tighten up like your ass. She just go like that. Okay? And my mom's friend drives off. I don't even really say anything for which seems like minutes, but it's probably just seconds. She's mad and she is struggling to get a pack of cigarettes out of her jacket. And she finally gets a pack of cigarettes out of her jacket, opening them up because she's shaking and driving, opening them up to light her cigarette. And I tell her, you want me to help you? She goes, yeah. So she gets the pack of cigarettes finally out. I light it for her and I give it to her and I ask her like, you good? And she tells me, why is your mom so stupid? I don't know. I was like, I told you though. Like, trying to like still like talk to her. I just don't get it, Alexis. Like, what the f is wrong with her? And I'm like, I don't know, you tell me. My phone begins to ring aggressively. I swear. And I pick up and I'm like, hello? And it's my mom and she is so mad that I left with her friend. Are you effing kidding me? You left with her? You're fake as f. And like all mad, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, what are you talking about? So I tell her, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, everything happened so fast. Like, I'm not gonna stay over there with you. Like, what are you talking about? Like, something can happen to me. So I start screaming at my mom. My mom's friend grabs the phone. She's like, are you f***ing stupid? And just starts swearing at her, calling her every what name in the book. I don't care if you beat my ass. I don't care. So we didn't even get to the light. Okay, we didn't get to the light. And this friend does a U-turn. And I'm just kind of laughing because their friendship is so freaking toxic. They were meant for each other. Like, if they were the opposite sex of each other, they would be married. I just stay quiet. She kind of like mumbles something under her breath. Like, this is it. Like, I'm tired of it, blah, 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 blah. And I just want to tell her, like, you ain't gonna do shut up. Shut up. So we see my mom. My mom opens the door and is pissed. Pissed. Just gets in, slams the door, and just sits down. My mom's friend just looks at her. You're so stupid. And she's like, you know, shut the fuck stupid, you stupid bitch. So they're just like swearing, cussing each other out, calling each other every name what in the book. You ain't nothing, no, you ain't nothing either, and just cussing each other out. I'm just in the front, not doing anything, and so I decided to take out my phone because they're over there cussing each other out. Ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't want to hear it. So I'm on my phone. I should have thought it through. The voice in the back of my head was, hide your phone because any chance you get, mom's gonna snatch it. She's gonna snatch it because she's pissed off because she expected you to answer your phone at 2 in the morning. But no, I don't know what's wrong with me. I decided to take my phone out and I'm like, okay. I feel my mom lean forward and just snatch that bitch off my hand. And I was like, oh, okay. And my mom's like, you think I forgot? Huh? Think you're so smart, don't you? Huh? Think you're so smart, don't you? And I'm just like, no. She's like, yeah, keep playing stupid games. Like, keep playing stupid games. And I'm just like, okay. Shook the phone. And then my mom's friend is like, what? You're so stupid. So she starts swearing at my mom, like, why are you taking her phone? My mom's like, you don't worry about it. I don't tell you how to parent your kids. And she's like, yeah, because I'm not stupid like you. So they start fighting and I'm just like, okay, whatever. They end up stopping to get some more cigarettes and they both get off. They both get off the car. I stay in the car and my mom's like, you gonna get out? I'm like, no. She's like, okay. Slam the door. And my mom has this aggressive parenting where she thinks like, it's like aggressive. Like there's parenting where like I understand like, okay, whatever. But my mom just has this parenting of like, she wants to square the up with you. Like she really does. Like I'm pretty sure if I were to like ever swing at my mom, she'd take the opportunity right there to be like, pop, pop, pop. Like she would take it. She would take it. Like I would put millions on the table. If I ever were to ever swing at my mama, she would take it. I feel like she has so much, and she won't ever admit it. She won't ever admit it. And I know she won't ever admit it, but she has so much pent-up anger. Even then, even now, she would take it. I don't know why. So I waited in the car. My mom had left my phone on the seat. So you know she's in the back seat. She left it right there with her other stuff. Ooh, I was like, should I take it? Should I take it? I see that I get a message and it's from the ex again. He's like, question mark. And I'm like, I don't know why I care. But I don't go for it. I don't go for the phone. I'm like, nope, I don't really want to chance it because she's going to be getting like this. And in my head, I'm like, oh, thank goodness I'm fighting with the peaches because this would have been horrible. My mom gets in the car and I don't even notice that she's coming. I'm just looking back at the seat, but she gets in the car and she goes, don't even effing think about it, Alexis. Don't even effing think about it. You're not going to get this for a long time. You know what? I think I'm going to give this to so-and-so. Some freaking random crackhead. I think I'm going to give this to so-and-so because you don't deserve it. And I'm just like, okay. Oh, just okay? Okay, you act like you don't care. I'm not going to argue with you, Mom. I'm not going to argue with you. So what happened? Where were you? Oh, now you give a fuck where I was? Okay. And so I'm like, yeah, I do. I was just sleeping because it was a crazy. You're not the only one who goes through stuff, Alexis. And I'm like, yes, I know. But I was sleeping and I really do care. Like I always have to reassure her that I freaking care. So weird. Like my mom, I think where it's because like she had like the childhood that she did. It's very hard for her to accept that like people care and love her. So she acts out like that a lot. So I'm telling her like, no, like I really do care what happened. And so she's like telling us what happened, but aggressively telling us what happened. And so her friend is driving us back to the house and pretty much like it's not my mom's fault. It's somebody else's fault. And we're like, okay, like just listening. My mom can kind of see, I guess, what I'm thinking where it's like, how isn't it your fault? Why do you even want to know when you're probably thinking? And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I was thinking that. That's crazy. And so we go back inside the house. I don't go to the room because I know my mom's gonna be like, you think it's your effing house for you just to go wherever you want? So I already know what my mom's gonna say, right? So I don't go to the back room. I just sit on the couch, just plop down, and I just sit there. I want to go back to bed. Like in my head, I'm like, I want to go back to bed. I want this day to start over because it's already getting to a rocky start. I sit down and my mom's sitting at the counter and she's talking to her friend, and they are like cussing each other out, like you're stupid and then okay, talking about their own thing. And I'm just sitting there watching whatever's on TV. I don't remember what was on TV. It's just one of those things where you're just like, whatever, just trying to like, I hope time passes. So then my mom asks me like, what are you doing? And I was like, nothing, just sitting here. Why don't you go to the room? And I'm like, I don't know, I didn't want to go to the room. Why not? You always go and act like it's your house anyways. Why don't you go to the room? And I'm like, okay. So I get up and I go to the room, and then I can hear my mom telling friend like she knows what the F she does. That's why she does it. She thinks that I'm effing stupid, and I'm just literally right there behind the door going, I really can't win with my parent. Like I can't. I just chilling there, literally just on the bed, just looking up, just like, okay. Can't wait till I'm older. I can't wait till I can do whatever the I want. I can't wait to do this. I can't wait to do that. Thinking in my head, like I can't wait to escape this, you know? You know how some kids are like, I'm never gonna do this to my kids. I was having a lot of those talks, you know? I get that there's parenting where like it does have to be somewhat harsh because there is badass kids that just don't want to listen and they will test it and test it. But there's no need for mom to go to like the level that she did. Eventually my mom comes in the room. She tells me to scoot over. She's gonna go to bed. And I'm like, okay. So I scoot over, and then eventually I just get off the bed because I'm like, why am I in here? Like, you're gonna be passing out. I'll just leave. My mom gets upset because I do that. And she's like, why? Because I'm in here. And I'm like, I'm just gonna let you sleep. I just never know with you. Like, do I do this? Do I do that? And I'm like, I'm just gonna let you sleep. And she's like, okay, you still can have your phone. I was like, okay. So I go out there. My mom's friend's there. And she's looking at me and she's like, you hungry? And I'm like, sure. So we heat up a pizza and we're eating it, and she's just talking to me, and she's like telling me that like my mom's trying, that my mom really loves me, and that she's trying. And I'm like, I know. She's like, do you? And I'm like, yeah. And then I was like, I know she's bipolar, and I know she has her, you know, she has her anger, whatever. Not justifying it, but I'm just saying, trying to say whatever to her so she can just like shut the hell up and not tell me like, don't tell me. I don't want to hear how like my mom loves me and how this or that. Like, I just don't want to hear it. Like, it's really annoying when someone tries to do that. Like, I really hate it, and it pisses me off when I see it in movies too, where they're like, you know, she loves you, right? Or he loves you, right? After this parent is like either beat the shit out of the kid, or she's very to the kid like mentally, and the kid's like, yeah, I know. Like, don't okay it. Like, what the heck? So I just tell her whatever, just to shut her up. And then she's like, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, nothing. Like, my mom's going to sleep. And then she's like, you want to go to the store with me? And I'm like, sure. So I go to the store with her, get out of the house. It's okay. It's fun. Did a lot of window shopping, and a lot of, I would always be in my head and always tell myself like, well, when I'm older, I'm gonna have this and I'm gonna have that. I would love to go and look at stuff, but at the same time, I would hate it because we didn't have like a home to be like, oh, like, you know, like my mom should get this, my mom should, like, we didn't. We had like the bare minimum. Not because my mom couldn't afford it, because my mom didn't want to do stuff like that. So anyways, go back home. My mom is up and she is getting ready. I ask her where she's going, and she tells me that she's gonna go out. And I'm like, okay. And then she tells me that I can have a friend come over, or I can be on my phone until she gets back. So I just take the phone option. A lot of the times my mom would act like this, I would sometimes get emotional and break down. And I hated appearing weak to people. It took me a while to cry as a grown woman, and now I feel like I can't seem to stop. So I grab my phone and I just start texting, asking Skilly like, what you doing, reading some of my messages. I noticed that I got a message from Mr. Peach, and he's asking me like if everything's okay, that Sam told him that my mom was missing, and that if we by chance found her, if there's anything that he can do, and that he would really like to talk about what happened the other night, that he truly appreciates everything that I do, and that we are a family, and sometimes family can be hard on each other. It sucks when you hear stuff like that, because it's like, I got family being hard on me over here, and then you guys want to be hard on me too. Like, I feel like I couldn't catch a break. He messages quite a few times, and he's just pretty much telling me that he's sorry, and that they have that thing coming up. Remember, like the event sort of thing that Mrs. Peach was asking me if I could go, and it was gonna be a couple of nights. Remember, he's asking me if I still want to do it, and if I don't want to do it, that's fine, that my job's still there, that to not think that I have to do it because of them needing a sitter, that they will figure it out and get something or someone in the meantime to cover that, and that just to worry about my mom, and that he's sorry that I have to go through this again, that it seems that I have to deal with this quite often when it comes to my mom. That message kind of was like a bad kind of compliment. I feel like if you read a lot into it, it might be like, is he saying I'm making this up, or is he being sincere? That like, oh, I'm sorry they had to go through this again. And I feel like I do that a lot, where like I feel like I read through the lines a little bit too much sometimes, that I'm an overthinker, and it's like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. Or sometimes where it's like, Alexis, she meant it like that, you know? And it's like, oops. So I end up just not replying, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't even know what to say. I don't even want to say anything, and it come off like rude. I'm always like scared I'm gonna hurt other people's feelings and not like thinking about mine. I get a message from Sam, and she's like asking me like, hey, did you find your mom yet? Is everything okay? Give us an update. Don't write to her, because I'm like, don't talk to me. Joe checked up on me. Hey, how's everything? Hope everything's fine. Miss you. Hopefully we can get together. That was it. I just end up passing out. I was like, I'm tired. Go to the back room, and I leave the phone right next to me. I wake up, and it's my mom taking the phone, and she is like super intoxicated. I ask her like, hey mom, everything good? She's like, yeah, why wouldn't it be? I'm like, it's just a question. So she has an attitude with me, and I'm like, okay. I just go right back to bed. The next day, me and my mom do some stuff. Nothing really like, oh my god. We do some stuff, and mom tries to bond with me a little bit and asks me, how's everything? If I'm still talking to the ex. And she tries. I know she tries, but it's so hard because it's like she's trying, but she has done like all this, and it's like really hard just to like pick back up and be like, yay, with my mom. If you know someone who's bipolar, or if you got to experience any of that, it's like a roller coaster. It's very tiring, and it's just a lot. My mom tries to tell me that we are going to move, that she thinks that we need a change. No, I don't want to move, even though I wanted to move to Texas and stuff with like my cousins and stuff. My mom didn't want to go to Texas. I don't know where she wanted to go. She wanted to go somewhere else. And I'm like, why? Like, why there? We have nothing. We don't know anybody over there. And she's like, that's the point, Alexis. And I'm like, I'll have nobody. Like, I'll literally, I think that's why I was upset. It's because I would literally have nobody. Like, at least here, even though I have like two-faced friends, have them. Or even though that the peaches are toxic or whatever, like I still have somewhere to go. Like over there, I'll have nowhere to go when my mom is doing whatever the hell she's doing. Like, I would be so alone. And you guys are probably thinking, but like, Alexis, those places are toxic. I get that. But as a child, even as, you know, adults too, we sometimes are okay with things being toxic because we don't want to be alone, you know? And barely now have I been okay with being alone. I have cut off so many people this year that I never thought in a million years that I would not be able to. I literally had problems. I had arguments with people where they'd be like, why don't you cut this toxic person out? You know it's not good. And I'd be like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I just can't. You just can't, Nemo. Like, I literally felt like I couldn't. I felt like, oh my God, I can't. Me and this person, we did this together. We had created memories together. That's okay. I shouldn't have to move states to be able to cut people off. And that's how I was already starting to think. And it just took a lot of time, and slowly it started happening. But I felt like there's even family that I'm like, I can't cut off. Like, I can't cut off. Like, even me and my mom not talking, it feels so weird, but I know it's the best for the both of us because we might trigger each other. I'm pretty sure I trigger her a lot. She triggers me a lot. Just because she is my mom doesn't necessarily mean we have to be like, you know what I mean? Like, we can be like, oh, hey, how you doing? Okay, good. Glad you're doing good. Love you too. We don't have to be like how I pictured in my head that we had to be. Like, I pictured like I have to talk to her every single day. I have to like tell her every single little thing. I have to like, we don't have to have that. And I think that's why I would do that a lot. Like, I thought like, oh, I have to have like this person because we used to share every single little thing. Or I thought like, oh my God, I can't cut this person out because this and this and this. You can. Things, you don't have to like end things bad with people. It can just be just that. Like, you guys should stop talking, yeah, you know, and you guys can still do like the, hey, how you doing? It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be like a nasty like breakup. Like, it doesn't have to be. It could just be like, it is what it is. Stop talking, you know? Or when people are like, hey, why are you being funny? Why aren't you hitting me up? Because I'm focusing on me. And I feel like we get a lot of crap for that when we say that. And people just think like, oh, that's just like a lame ass excuse. No, it's not. Like, I'm really just working on me. Like, that's a real thing. Like, I'm really working on me. And you'll start to realize like who is really there too, and who you even want there. And it's okay to cut off people who don't benefit you. And I'm not talking about like financially. I'm not talking about like gaining anything. I'm talking about just like peace. Like, does this person bring you peace in your life? Julie, honestly, or do you stress the when this person is messaging, texting you, coming around? Or do you notice like things don't go good? Like, it's a real thing. People's aura, people's vibes, it's a real thing. Does this person drain you? Does this person bring anything good to you? Or are you constantly just like trying to avoid this person, or hoping that like this person don't hit you up anytime soon because like you don't want them to like ruin your vibe? And it's okay if they're like, oh my God, you switched up, blah, blah, blah. You're working on you. It's okay to not be in contact with people. It's okay. I feel like when we watch TV, we think that like we have to have people in our lives for like years, or we have to have like that one solid friend that we've known for years and they know everything. We're like, oh my God, I want that. It's okay to want something like that, but it doesn't mean you gotta force a relationship to have that. It shouldn't be like that. It should just be like normal. And you're probably like, oh my God, like, no, like it does take effort to have a friendship, but it shouldn't be exhausting. It shouldn't be like, oh, or like I can't want to say this because I don't want to hurt their feelings. It should just be like y'all vibe and that's it. Like, it should honestly feel like that, and it should not feel like anyone's forcing anything at all. If the phone is only ringing one way, why do you keep calling? Hang up. Stop. If they're not calling to check on you, what are you doing? Why do you care? Oh, because like I have a heart. Yeah, I know. but just stop, because you're draining yourself. Like, you're honestly when you're making that phone call and they're not picking up unless it's something beneficial, you're just draining all your energy right there. Put that into something else. And if you're like, oh my God, well, I can't let go of this person, you know, friendship, whatever, stay busy. Start working on yourself and start seeing, when you start falling in love with yourself, how quickly, like, you don't want your energy to be disrupted by people who don't give you good. Like, it literally is so simple, but it's so hard to do. Because, like, if you would have told me that I could have, like, cut out who I cut out this year, I'd be like, there's no way. There's no way. If you would have told me, like, 2 years ago, I'd be like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. But once I started, like, just really focusing, like, on me and my mental, and I really started paying attention who was calling me, who would check up on me, or if I would, like, try to link up, how many excuses people would give me. Oh, I can't, but as soon as they needed something, they would call on me, or they would try to make sure that, you know, like, they would check up here and there so that it would look good, or if anyone would ask, like, hey, like, they'd be like, oh yeah, like, I messaged her to see if she was good, just to save face. Like, when I started really paying attention, and then I started focusing on the people who were really doing that, who were really checking up on me, who were really making sure I was good, I just started giving them that attention that I was giving the people who didn't deserve it. It takes time. Trust me, it takes time. And for the fandom who have been messaging me about how they can't get out of this horrible relationship, yes, you can. If you need time, take it. Take the time. Because it's easier said than done for me to tell you, like, get up and leave and you don't need him. That's it. It's really simple. Because people would tell me that all the time, like, get up, leave. It's simple. But you take your time, because I'm not living your life. I'm not living your life. You're living your life. It's really easy for other people to tell you what to do because they're not living it. They have no feelings attached, but you do. I'm not sleeping with your mans. I'm not sitting there dealing with the I love yous or all of that. I'm not dealing with that. That's you. So I can give you advice and you can, you know, take it. Sometimes you will take advice and just boom, that's it. But sometimes you need time. So take the time. You need time. You need a plan. You can do it. Anything is possible. You can do it. My bad, y'all. I went like, you guys are probably like, Jesus Christ, because I got all mad, my bad. The day passes. Me and my mom are not on the best of terms. We're just literally just trying to coexist in her friend's apartment. We see my brothers, they come over, they spend time with us, and it's all good. You know, it's all good. We're getting along. We're doing some stuff. We're going to the park. Like, it's great. It's all fun and dandy. It's great. My mom asks me if I'm going to fix my attitude. I tell her yes, because I know what she's getting at. She is going to give me my phone back. So I tell her yes, I will fix my attitude. She's like, okay. Get on my phone. Next couple of days pass by and they're just like, nothing. I'm still not doing anything with the peaches. Haven't done anything. Haven't responded anything at all. This event, let's say, is on the 30th, okay? This event's on the 30th. I'm like, I got time to be like, hey, I'm gonna go, or hey, I'm not gonna go. Like, I got time. And I finally message Mrs. Peach because she asked me, like, Alexis, like, did you guys by chance find your mom? Is everything okay? She didn't bring up the event. She didn't bring up any of that. She just really wanted to have an update of, like, did we find my mom? And so her message came out pretty sincere. So I'm like, okay. So I tell her and stuff like, yes, we found her. She was okay, but we still have a long way ahead of us, you know, because I didn't want them thinking like, okay, we found her. She good. Let's book her. We're going to go here. She says like, oh, que bueno. Like, I'm so glad. Let me know if you guys need anything. And I'm like, yeah, sure. As soon as I text her that, Bubbles messages me not that long ago. Oh my God, Alexis, I just heard. Is everything okay? Are you okay? Is your mom okay? Which was fine. But it just made me like, oh my God, the peaches are so annoying. So I messaged Bubbles. I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. My mom's okay. We couldn't find her at first, but everything's fine. She's like, I just heard. And I'm like, who told you? And she tells me like right away, like, the peaches. It's fine. I just wanted to know like confirmation. She asks me if I need anything and I'm like, no, like I'm fine. And she tells me if we can go on a little lunch date. I'm like, yeah, I think I can. So I asked my mom, I'm like, hey, can I go hang out with Skillet? Fine, sure. And my mom was like already like in and out of the house again, like, okay, doing her own thing, whatever. So I tell Mrs. Bubbles like, yeah, I can. She's like, okay, great. Like I'll go pick you up. I'm like, okay. So she picks me up and she's asking me like, how's everything? Hugs me really tight. And you could tell she was like concerned about how the child was doing, okay? Not because she needed something or whatever. She was concerned about me. I'm giving her a little update of everything. We start talking about the peaches. I don't know how she got it out of me, but she was really good. She was really good. She was a really good therapist. Like, she was really good. She starts telling me that this is not okay behavior. And she's like, and I know that you know that. She's telling me that she never wants me to be alone with Mr. Peach at all. That is not how a man is supposed to be acting towards a child. She has me promise her that I will never be alone with him, and that if I ever feel unsafe, to call her, even if I'm upset, that she is going to talk to Mr. Peach about this, that her and her honey are going to talk to Mr. Peach. Everything inside wanted to scream, no, don't, because I didn't want him to be upset with me. And I know that's kind of like a weird thing, and you guys are probably screaming like, what the why? I don't know what the heck it is about me, but even though people who have done me the dirtiest, and I'm talking about like grimy as hell, I'm always inside like, I don't want nothing bad to happen to them though. Like, I wish I would have never said anything so that person would not be sad or feel guilty or feel shame, even though that they hurt me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is, and I hate it, and I hate it, and I hate it, especially because in a way I feel like I'm telling on them and it was supposed to be our secret. In a weird way, that's how I really feel. Like, I really feel like I'm doing something wrong. But if it was anybody else to tell me the same thing that happened to me, that happened to them, I'd be like, what the are you doing? Put him on blast and run him through the mud. But where it's me, I can't. I just can't. Like, I feel guilty. It's so weird. Foundation look good. I'm sorry. It's so weird where I feel like I can't. You can, but I can't. Like, it's so weird. I really want to get out of that. I really don't want to feel that. I really don't. I really don't. Like, I have, like, even though my stepdad hurt me, I felt so guilty, and a part of me felt like I ruined the family. Like, a part of me felt like how I told you, like, I feel like I broke my mom. Like, I feel so guilty. In a way, I feel like maybe my siblings hate me. They didn't have like the mom and dad relationship that they wanted us growing up. I feel guilty. I feel so guilty, even though it's not my fault. I pray for this feeling to go away, but I feel guilty. So everything inside, when she was telling me that she was going to talk to him, I was screaming like, please don't, please don't. But I couldn't tell her. But I couldn't tell her because I know that it was not okay. I know it was not okay. But it made me feel so uncomfortable that she was going to do it. Like, I felt like this was a no-no. You're not supposed to, or he's gonna get mad. So even though I did tell her some stuff, I did not tell her like all the business of the peaches. I did not tell her like, yo, and Baltimore pregnant. Like, I didn't tell her all of that. I just told her like how he was making me feel and how he creeped me out. That sort of stuff. We hang out, she feeds me, we talk. She drops me back off and tells me that if I ever need anything, to not hesitate to call. She's like, I want my number on speed dial. I did it right in front of her. Like, she was not joking. She was like, do it right now. Like, I want to see you do it. So I was like, okay, I'll do it right now. She drops me off, hug her really tight. She tells me that she loves me. And then I go inside. I get a message from Joe's asking me like, how was it with my mom? I wanted to tag along, but my mom didn't let me. And I was like, well, I'm kind of glad that you didn't, because it was a really good, like, just me and her moment. And again, I get so emotional because he shared his mama with me. I just tell him like, yeah, it went great. Like, he's really lucky to have her as a mom. And he's like, I know that he's like really grateful for her. And I start texting Sam. I'm asking her like, hey, I want to ask you something, but don't be a bitch. And she's like, okay, what's going on? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I just want to know like, how's the vibe, everything. And she's like, there's so much that's been going on. We need to talk. And I'm like, okay, like, I want to go to this event, but I don't want it to be weird. And I don't want to be left alone with Mr. Peach, and I don't want you to make me feel weird about it. And I was just like telling her pretty much like everything. Don't make me feel weird. I want to go. I want to make the money, but like, don't make things awkward. And she's like, okay. She calls me and she pretty much tells me like the cheeseman that's been going on. So Baltimore has not been at Mrs. Peach's house, but she's been staying at Mr. Peach's house. But I guess Sam has been staying there too. And she's like, she's been sleeping upstairs and Mr. Peach has been on the couch. And I'm like, uh-huh. She's like, dude, I know. So that was in drama with itself. So with this event, everyone is going. Mr. Peach is going, Mrs. Peach is going. And I guess everyone has to make it like nothing is wrong with the family. Like nothing at all. And everything is all peaches and cream and no one is out of the house at all. So I'm like, okay. So she's telling me that she hopes that I didn't tell anybody because they got to make sure that no one suspects anything, because I guess Mr. Peach and Mrs. Peach, they kind of want to work it out, but she's like, we'll see. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, okay. I tell her that I'm going to message Mr. Peach tomorrow and Mrs. Peach, and that I'll go from there. And she's like, okay, well, I'm glad everything went okay. So she's been kind of nice. I'm telling you, it was a little bit of like back and forth with her. I feel like sometimes she just like how she wanted to square up with me. We went over it, like it's okay, like whatever. In a way, it was like sister vibes at times, even though like no, don't claim her as one, but like it gave me that kind of feeling of like sibling argument, right? Go to sleep. My mom is nowhere to be found again. I messaged her friend and I messaged her, and she pretty much tells me that my mom is back in trouble and that maybe she'll be out in the morning, maybe she'll be out in a couple of days. And I'm like, okay, great. So my mom is gone. My mom is gone yet again. I call my brothers and their dad tells me that pretty much that he is gonna have my brothers and that if I wanted to, I can go with them. And I'm like, no. I tell him that I'm staying with my mom's friend and he's like, okay. I checked in with him just in case. Like there's a lot that I don't tell you guys when I do like the story times, just because like it's so much detail that it would be so hard and so freaking long to give you guys every single little detail. But I pretty much checked in with him just in case my mom did stay in there longer and my grandma wanted to come down and play house and take me away, because I didn't want to go with her either, because her and my mom are very similar in the way of how they speak. I didn't want him to tell my grandma anything and be like, well, I don't know where she's at. My mom's still in there. She ain't getting out. She went in like on a weekend, so they're like, you're not gonna see the judge until like this day. My mom's friend is doing her own thing and doesn't really bug me too much about what I'm gonna do at all. So she knew that me and the ex would still like talk. So I told her like, I'm gonna be at his house. I'm gonna spend the night at his house. She's like, oh, okay. But I wasn't. I was going to be with the Peaches because we were gonna go to this event. So now let's fast forward up to like a day before this event, okay? I call the Peaches and I tell them like, okay, like, yeah, I wanna go. Mr. Peach says he needs to talk to me, that he got a call from Mrs. Bubbles and he is not happy. She did it. She really did it. I'm like, okay, sure, cool. I needed to like, cause I didn't do nothing wrong. I didn't do nothing wrong. So I had to keep reminding myself that I did nothing wrong. Because if you feel like you did something wrong, then people will jump on that and be like, you see, you know you're wrong, right? So I was like, I did nothing wrong, so I need to act as such. So he asks me if we can meet up at Mrs. Peach's, and he says, so that you're not alone with me. And so him saying that, I was like, okay, yeah, they talked. They talked. So I don't know what was up with me. I'm telling you, when I was younger, I don't know, like when I really think about like all the stuff that I did, I'm like, I could have got kidnapped here. I could have got kidnapped here and here and there and here. I go over to the house and I see that Mr. Peach and Mrs. Peach are sitting on the couch, and I open the door and they're like, oh, hey, let's just like come in, let's talk. And I'm like, okay. Mr. Peach kind of looks like he wants to like be mean. Like you can tell he was fighting everything that he wanted to be my ass. We get into talk and he tells me and stuff that he's very sorry for what happened that day and that he wasn't really going to pull me out by my hair, that it was just something, and it sounded harsher in Spanish. And I'm like, because with this family we talked a lot of Spanglish, and so he was telling me that he wasn't really, and if anything, he's always tried to make me feel like one of his kids, and so he might talk to me harshly, but that he sees me as one of his, and so that's why he talks to me like that. But if I didn't want to be talked to like that, that he will treat me just like an employee, and that is all, and that he will not give me pretty much special attention like he would his child, that he is just going to just treat me as such, an employee. And so he asked me like, is that what you want? Like he was trying to be mean about it, and I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's what you want. That's what you don't want to be treated like family. You want to be treated like just an employee, just like you come in here and that's it. That's what you want to be. Like he kept asking me like if I didn't understand, and I was like, see, yes. He was so annoyed that I even answered to that. La verdad, that's what you want? And I was like, yes. I felt uncomfortable. And Mrs. Peach was like, she told you twice, que sí. Why do you keep asking? He was like, I just, you know, like pretty much like when you work with people, they want to be treated as family, and that I'm over here saying that he's just, oh, like he doesn't even, that he is just like, pretty much like he doesn't know what to say. He just feels like I'm being difficult. And I was just kind of like quiet, because I'm like, didn't you come over here for kind of like an apology for us to kind of talk? Mrs. Peach asks me if I had discussed anything with anybody outside of the house that she really needs me to keep the family business, that I don't have any business telling anybody their business. And so I told her I would like the same. I tell you, this lady was like, what are you talking about? How don't you get the same? I was like, because you told Mrs. Bubbles about my mom. How is that the same, Alexis? Your mom was missing. Like, how is that the same? I'm like, because it's my business. And she was so upset. Like, when I tell you, this lady, you could tell wanted to slap my mouth. How is it the same? I'm like, because it is, and it's my business. And what if I didn't want anyone to know about my personal business? Like, why would you tell Mrs. Bubbles? Like, if you guys don't want me to tell your business, like, please, like, do the same and don't say my business. And then Mr. Peach asks her, why was she even telling Mrs. Bubbles my business? He's like, why did you even tell her? And then she tells him, like, I thought that's where Alexis was staying, was over there. So I was checking to see if she was over there. And she asked, like, why would Alexis be over here? And I told her, like, oh, because her mother is missing. So I thought since you guys kind of were close that she'd be over there. I don't know if that was the truth, but I still didn't like it, okay? I was like, okay, but please don't. She's like, okay, you just tell me one time, that's it. I won't say nothing else. And I'm like, you're a lie. I've told you how many times and you still want to go? Okay, whatever. So we're kind of like establishing boundaries and what he expects and not expects. He tells me I cannot smoke on his property, and I tell him okay. And he's like, ¿Me escuchaste? Like, did you hear me? Don't smoke on my, I found cigarette butts. I was like, those aren't mine, those are Wilsmore's. No es cierto. And I was like, yes, that's true. Those are not mine. Sam chimed in and she's like, yeah, those are Baltimore's. Those aren't Alexis. Alexis smokes this kind, not that kind. And he's like, okay, well, whoever, I don't want smoking on my property. And she's like, and I told you she wasn't. And he tells her to shut up, that she's talking to me. And so we are still going over more boundaries. He asks me, like, what makes me think that I can smoke on his property? And I'm like, I've never smoked on a property. And I have. I'm like, and if I did, I flick my cigarette butt off of the premises. And then he wants to go into like, what makes you think that you can smoke cigarettes? Like, you're not even of age. And I'm like, so what? Because I do. And so we're kind of like, it was going good and then it go like bad because he, like, you could tell he still wanted to like yell at me, but he couldn't. It was probably really hard for him and I wasn't having it. And so we start talking about my pay. So what this family would do was so annoying because the ex's family did it too. So annoying. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I don't know. So if we would go out and he'd be like, hey, do you want a hot dog? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. All his kids, I'm not their family, I get it. But sometimes I'd be like, okay, but you're offering, because all his kids would get a hot dog too, but I get docked in my pay. So it was kind of confusing because I could never imagine like hiring somebody and be like, hey, you want candy? And then being like, yep, and me be like $4.25 off her bill. I never, you know what I mean? And so even though he said like he treated me like family, he would do stuff like that. So we were talking about my pay because there was a time we went to the store, clothes and stuff like that. Mrs. Peach asked me, Alexis, what do you think about this one? Do you think it's cute? And I was like, oh yeah, like what size is it? I think those would fit me. She's like, me too. Do you want them? I was like, I was like debating, you know? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yo lo compro. Like, I'll buy them. I'm like, are you sure? She was like, yes. So I was like, okay. Mr. Peach notices, grabs them. Whose are these? I didn't say I didn't get these for anybody. Who are these? And then Mrs. Peach grabs them like, they're Alexis's. And then he's like, I didn't get them. Where's her money? I didn't say. And so she's like, I'm gonna buy them for him. He's like, why? Like, so annoying. She tells him like, I'm gonna buy it from her. She's like, oh, okay. We get to the car. She passes them to me and he tells her, save the receipt. And she's like, for what? And he was like, just in case we have to do any returns. She's like, okay. We get back to the house and he happened to be giving me my check that day, whatever, right? And then he gives me the money and then he asks her like, where's the receipt? She's like, oh, it's right here. Let's say the undies were like 10 bucks, okay? Let's say that he was gonna give me 80. So he's like, here's 70. No, like I'm $10 short. He's like, yeah, you got underwear. I was like, well, Mrs. Peach said she was gonna get them for me. He's like, no, she didn't. And she's like, yeah, I did. And then he's like, no. I was like, he was like, what? You don't, so if we would have to buy them, then it'd be okay. But since you have to pay for them, you don't want them, you don't need them. I was like, you know, it's fine, it's fine. So they would do stuff like that, okay? Then there'd be times where they give me my check and I'd be like deducting stuff already because I'd be like, okay, they're shady like this. So then I'd be like, I got a pretzel. They got me a pretzel, got me like a soda. Okay, I got like a candy, I got like a stick of gum, so I'd be like, 10 bucks, let me deduct that from my check. So they give me money and I'm like, oh, here's the 10 for like this. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. Like, go over there. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. So it was a constant like mind game. Like I didn't know like what way. Like it was so like mind effing that I didn't know like how to maneuver sometimes. Like sometimes they would even be like, let's just get a seat like, you know, to this place over here. And I'm like, oh yeah. Then they'd be like, okay, like they put the gas in and stuff, like, te voy a cobrar, eh? Like I'm gonna charge you, eh? And I'm like, okay. And like they would take like a certain amount from my check. The ex's family would do that stuff too. Like it was so weird, but like they would do it weirder where they would never like give me money. Like, or if they did, it was like little here, little there. And I remember like them paying for like my phone bill and it was like a certain amount. Like it was like I need to like give you guys like, we'll go into it in another video when I finally get to like me moving in with them. Like I feel like God, make it a dream that I make a movie so I could be more detailed. I wish like I would be forever here. Okay, so anyways, moral of the thing, we were talking about money because I was so tired of doing stuff like this. And so I was telling Mr. Peach and Mr. Peach was like offended that I wanted to talk about money because he'd always be like, no, like no, don't talk about money, don't talk about money. But he was so like gordo and like so like flashy with it. It was so weird. So we're talking about the money situation and he's pretty much like, what about it that anybody else would pretty much love this job? I didn't want to offend him and be like, that's a lie, the talk of the town, like that's a lie. No. So I tell him like, okay, well, if you want, you guys can hire. Oh my gosh, you always say the same shit. So he's getting annoyed. Mr. Peach is like, relájate, like telling him and stuff. But it's so true. Like, dude, like, how don't you expect me to say that then? Like, you want me just to be quiet? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's such like a weird thing. Like, you're gonna insult me and like want me to be, holy crap, you guys, I've been recording for a long time. You want to insult me and like you expect me just to be quiet and be like, like it's so like, can I not react? Can I not react? You narcissistic son of a bitch. So she's like telling him like, relax. And she's like, okay, like go on. And so I'm telling them like when we're out and about cruising, if I'm going to be charged for gas, snacks, anything that is offered, to let me know. And that if I decline, for them not to like be rude and offensive to me, because to them it might be like a $10 snack, $5 snack, whatever, but like that's money that I need for like whatever I need it for. I would really appreciate if they would stop asking me like what I need the money for and them trying to withhold money because like they think that I'm gonna do like drogas or like fumar, and I don't know why I'm doing this, it just sounds cool. Don't want them to have to worry about that. Pretty much that is my business and not theirs. He was so annoyed and I didn't say it rudely. Like I'm telling you, I was talking very nicely because I knew that he was going to be offended. It's very hard not to offend somebody when you're speaking about money. So my number one advice, if you have a friendship or familyship, don't deal with money together. Don't. It is very rare, okay? Like 1 out of 10 that it would not ruin a relationship, because money will ruin it. It will. I have so many stories about that too. And it's just like, you live and you learn, and my pendeja ass still did not learn. And it's just one of those things because it just won't work. So anyways, so he's like annoyed and he is just like wanting to get the conversation done because he keeps going like, come on, like hurry the fuck. And so I'm like, and like talking to him, right? And so she's asking me like, okay, with her wine, are you gonna go with us to the trip? And I'm like, yes, about that. Where would I be sleeping? And then I think she knew what I was getting at because she's like, conmigo, like with her. And I'm like, okay. And then he tells me, I would really appreciate next time you don't tell Mrs. Bubbles that I made you feel uncomfortable. I couldn't even face him when I told him, but I said, next time, I would appreciate it if you don't make me feel uncomfortable. And I'm looking at Mrs. Peach, okay? Because he's behind me now. And then I turn very slowly, like, he's drinking his Corona and he's like, okay. And drinks. Doesn't deny, doesn't like nothing. He's just like, okay. Like, I don't know what else to talk about. Like, what else do we talk about? Like, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Like, it was just so awkward. She tells me, like, we're gonna be leaving, like, tomorrow at this time. I'm like, okay. And then I was like, so do you want to talk about that, like money wise? She wanted me to go on the trip with them but she was only gonna pay me for the 8 hours, even though I was gonna be with them for 24 hours. So y'all tell me how you guys would have figured that out. Like how you guys would have been like, no. Okay, since you're not gonna pay me by hour, can we at least do kind of like a salary sort of thing? So like for the full day, I will get paid this much. And he's like, no. Getting upset. And I'm like, I don't know why you're getting upset, because I think that's fair, because you guys are gonna probably want to do things later on throughout the day. I'm gonna be there 24/7. Like I'm not just gonna be able to, like, after 8 hours, I'm just gonna be like, he's like, why not? I'm like, because it's not gonna work that way. Because we've done that before, okay, where we've gone on trips and they've only paid me 8 hours, and the rest of like the 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I was doing stuff and they didn't want to pay me for that. They're like, I thought because you wanted to. Like, wait. He was like, okay, we'll talk about it. And I was like, can we talk about it now? Like, I want to talk about it now. ¿Qué traes? Like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I want to talk about it now. So as we're talking about it, we hear a knock at the door. I knew it was Baltimore. Just from the smell, I just knew it was her. I know that's so weird to some people, but I swear, I could smell the rata. Like I literally can. There's times where I'm out and about and I'll turn around, I'm like, hi, and I think it's her, but it's not. Oh, side note, we went Christmas shopping. My throat hurts. Christmas shopping, like at 6 in the morning when the doors barely opened. Okay, you know how things go half off? I don't know if it's because like I'm kind of like because when I do story times, like I usually, family members write me, like my tias were pissed about the title that I had for my cousin, like pissed, furious, talking all kinds of smack, like you better change the title. So I changed the title and it made it better. I go through that, or I'll go through like a friend hitting me up like, oh my god, I can't believe you did that, that's so messed up, like thinking it's funny. Like there's a picture I have to show you guys where I'm very insecure about. And that's the picture that like a friend decided to upload and be like, I love you, Alexis, like you were always beautiful, but like they know I didn't like that picture and they're being like grimy about it. So I'm kind of like always like on edge. I recently ran into like one of the ex's cousins. She's a Storytime too. And we were just like mean dogging the whole time. It was awkward as hell. And I know she watches the Storytime. There is like 2 people that talk from the ex's family that are not family, but they're like in-laws, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of like have my guard up where I always feel like if someone's like being mean to me or something, I'm like, they're related to like them or something, right? Anyways, so we go to the store, doors open at 6. We stop shopping around 6:30 because we didn't find what we liked. There's a little ornament that I wanted to get. I didn't have a tag. So all the other ornaments that I got, they're ringing up to like 50 cents to like $1. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I tell the lady, this one's not ringing up. Yeah, whatever's there is there. Whatever it's ringing up, that's the price. I was like, okay. Like, I was like, maybe she's talking loud because she got her mask on, like whatever, right? Me and my husband look at each other and I'm like, okay, she's doing the most, okay. So then I was like, oh, well, this doesn't have a tag. Can you look it up for me, please? I'm always nice, I'm always nice. She comes back and she's like, it's $1. And I was like, oh, is that already like marked 50? It's $1. And I was like, I heard you. Don't talk to me like that. Talk to me right. I'm saying, because the other ones are ringing up as 50 cents and this was in the, it's $1. And I was like, okay, I don't want it. I was, oh. And me looking at her, because I was trying to analyze her face, like, is it somebody that is like from them? Like, oh God. I left the store and the whole time I was like, and I get it, like the holidays and stuff, everyone's a little flustered, but I feel like people be giving attitude for no damn reason. It's always that one too. Like that place that I go to, always attitude. Like it's not even because of the holidays. Like they always be wanting to square up over there in that store. Like always. I went with my brother one time. I was buying a beverage. It wasn't scanning. Do you think you can get another one? I was like, oh yeah, sure. And then she's like, okay. I'm like, okay. So I was like, what the fuck? Like why'd she say okay like that? So I give her this one. Okay, this is a new beverage, right? And then she goes, and I was like, okay, that's not the one I'm gonna get, because she shook the girls out of that one. I'm thinking she's gonna use the one that like wasn't scanning, right? So then she grabs it and like slams it in the bag. I was like, oh, I don't want that one. Like you shook the hell out of that one. I don't want that one. And I'm saying it funny, I'm saying it laughing. Blah, blah, blah. She's like, so you don't want it? So you don't want it? And I was like, not that one. I want that one. That's the one that one you shook. And then she's like, go get another one. I was like, no. You go get another one. And so it was so weird. And I was like, you know what? Never mind. I don't want it. And I just walked out. And I get it. She's probably like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you're the one who went on, not me. So rude. Where it's just like, why? 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 Like, do I just have it on my face? Like, try me? Like, The me inside, I was like, let's get it, baby. Like, but it's so like, I can't. I want to, but I can't. I hecka went off like, my bad, you guys. It's because I missed you guys. Mr. Peach is drinking. He's like, ay, ahora qué? That means like, what now, right? And it's like, your favorite. Yeah, bitch. So she comes through the door, and homegirl was already acting like she was already like 5 months pregnant, okay? So she's like cupping the underneath of her panza. Like, I think it's just a reaction, like a, I don't know, because low-key I probably did it too when I was pregnant with Jade, because I was like, oh, just any moment, like a little bloat, or like if I was feeling like little farts inside, I was like, oh my gosh, she kicked me. When I was like 3, like what, 2 weeks? So she comes in, and then she's like pretty much asking like, is this a bad time? Mrs. Peach is like, yes. Mr. Peach is like, no, we were just finishing up. I was like, but he's like, we were just finishing up. I was like, okay. So he tells me that if I was going to be able to work today, and I was like, yeah, wash the dishes in Spanish. Okay. So I go wash the dishes. She's asking if they can talk. Again, cupping her panza, okay? Like, Mr. Peach is like, sí, siéntate. Acting like he hadn't seen her or something, because I'm like, Sam told me that he was staying. Okay, whatever, right? So I'm washing the dishes, but first I'm gathering all the dishes, like all the dishes. So I'm being extra, okay? I'm like putting stuff in the drawer, and at the same time getting stuff out of the drawer so I can wash that too, because I'm like, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be delicious, bitch. So y'all need to go pee. I know you guys will get mad, but I need to go pee real quick. They start talking, and I'm like nervous because I feel like something's gonna low-key go down. I can feel it, and I'm like, it's not good. It's not good. I can feel it in my toes. So they start talking. Peach is like, so whose is it? So I'm like, dang, like they're still on the topic of like, whose is it? She tells her like, has nothing to do with you, and I need you to respect that she isn't the one who pretty much got her pregnant. Tú no me cogiste. Just kidding. She pretty much tells her like she didn't sleep with her, that it has to deal with her in the party. Mrs. Peach doesn't tell her like, well, I think you slept with my hands. So she was like, okay, but if it has something to do with mi familia, I need to know. She's like, well, it doesn't. And so Mr. Peach is just quiet, like that, right? Because I could see him in my peripheral, and I could see him going like that. Sam comes down, and she's like, oh, hey. Looks at her, she's like, oh, hey. So did you go to your appointment? Mr. Peach is like, what appointment? And then Sam's like, the appointment that you said you're gonna go to for the baby. And then she's like, like doesn't even like nod her head, like and then she's like, yeah, like go over there, like go help Alexis. And she's like, okay. So Mr. Peach is like, what appointment? And then she's like, an appointment, like that, like an appointment. Mr. Peach is like, why do you care? Why do you care? Like, why do you care? He's like, relájate. Like tells like, oh my god, like stop, like, you know, she's family, like I'm gonna ask and stuff. And then Mrs. Peach is like, so they don't really talk about anything really, but Baltimore's pretty much asking like, can I still go on the trip or not? Mrs. Peach is like, I don't care if you go on the trip, but you're gonna have to get your pretty much your own hotel and stuff. Like we're not gonna be in the same room. Mr. Peach is like, está bien, like she could be in mine. I'm like, oh. As I'm washing the dishes, like, no, you didn't. Mrs. Peach doesn't even say anything, just looks at him, gets up, and starts storming upstairs. I don't blame her. Like, that's weird. I'd be pissed. Divorce. They have a little combo. Sam comes over to me, we start talking, and she's like, hey, so you want to go in the back? And I'm like, for what? As I'm washing the dishes, I'm like, for what? She's like, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I could go. Didn't Mr. Peach just have this conversation with me? Yeah, but I don't go. So we go in the back. We're in the garage. There's like 2 chairs set up, whatever. So I'm like, okay, she been in here. She been doing this. Okay. So we're sitting down, and she's like, hey, so Baltimore asked Mr. Peach for like this amount. I'm like, what? Let's say it's like 500, okay? 500. I'm like, what? For what? For an apartment or something? Like a deposit? No, stupid. She's gonna go take care of it. And I'm like, what? She's like, that's why I asked her about her little appointment. And I was like, bitch, that ain't just like a little appointment. The fuck you mean? She's like, Alexis, shut up. It's like just stuff. It's not even a baby yet. And I'm like, that's still crazy. Like, what? It's your dad's. And she's like, I don't know, but he was really like, here it is. I guess we're having like the little argument and stuff. And I'm like, what? She's like, I'm like, what? Like, so I'm like this. What? I'm like, that's crazy. I was like, well, I kind of knew. Like, we were whispering, right? So I'm like, I kind of knew, but it's like, what? She's like, right? And she's like, oh, I hate this family. And probably thinking like, man, this is so great. It's not. Okay, I'm telling you, I got story times that are happening now that I can tell you guys in a little bit or in the future where you're gonna be like, ugh, and I'm gonna be like, disgusting. So we're talking, she thinks it's her dad's, I think it's her dad's. That's why Mrs. Peach is like, and so I'm like, what, that's crazy. She's like, yeah, he had said something like, I'm not gonna go through this again. And so I'm like, what, that's crazy. So we're finishing up. Damn, I'm like, how do you feel about it? She's like, okay, well, I feel, but I don't care. She's like, I don't care. She's like, if anything, it's gonna be you having to take care of another one. And I was like, yeah, no, like, like, no. And so we're just talking. Then she tells me and stuff about like having to go to like this event, whatever, that if she wants me to stay with her, or she's like, but I kind of want to stay with them, like just in case, like I want to hear. I was like, you know what, yeah, and I think I'll make Mrs. Peach feel better. She's like, right, because that's like, she's like, I hate the bitch, but that's like, I still up. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And I was like, the nerve. She's like, right? I'm like, We go back inside. Mr. Peach looks at us. He's like, what were you guys doing outside? Sam with the quickness is like throwing out the garbage. Goes upstairs, and I know he catches a whiff of her, but he don't say nothing. And he looks at me, he goes, I continued to what I was doing, put the dishes away. Mr. Peach asks me that if I was gonna stay the night or if I'm gonna come early in the morning tomorrow when I leave. And I said, I'm gonna come early tomorrow morning when I leave. And he's like, why you gotta say bye to your little boyfriend? And I said, boyfriends. Trying to be funny, right? Boyfriends. I don't know what I thought. I don't know why I did it, but I was like, boyfriends. And he's like, like that, And my double chin went, And I said, Just kidding. It's on TikTok. Anyways, so then my boyfriends, and he's like, And I was like, I'm just kidding. And he said, let that be the last time you tell a joke like that. In my head, I was like, or what? Like, I always want to say shit like that. Like, I always do. Like, when me and my husband, like, we play around, and he tells me something, and I'm like, or what? Like, but, like, in real life, too, I'll be saying, like, or what? Like, but a lot of the times in my head, I'm like, or what? What? Show me. Slap me in my face. Like, do something crazy, please. In my head, I'm like, you know, like, or what? And so I'm like, huh? And I look at him, and he's like, did you hear me? Let that be the last time you say something like that. Be just, like, saying pretty much in Spanish, like, nasty shit to joke about, all mad about. And I'm like, okay. And so I put his stuff away. He's like, como que okay? And I was like, yeah, like, it's just a joke. And he's like, I told you, te dije, let that be the last time. And in my head, I'm like, or what, bitch? So I was like, okay. Like, I didn't know what to say. And I was like, damn, I don't want to go now. Like, I don't want to go. Like, I don't want to go now. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. But I'm like, oh, you can't always be like that just because, like, someone tells you something, right? So then I finish up, and then I'm texting Joe and stuff. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go on this, like, little, like, thing with, like, the peaches and stuff like that. I want to see you before I leave. Okay. He tells me like, oh yeah, like for sure, like you know, let's link up before you leave. And I'm like, yeah, like I want to see you. So I'm like texting him, and like Joe's saying like some really like slick stuff, you know, like, oh, you thought about me, or did you think about somebody else before you thought? I was like, no, you're the first one I thought about, and I'm gonna text the rest later, like joking around with him, right? And he's like, oh, okay, bet. Like just joking around, and I'm like giggling on my phone, you know, like that's stupid, like just like joking. Okay, I feel Mr. Peach just like, ¿por qué te ríes? Like telling me like, why are you laughing? And I was like, oh, I'm talking to my friend. He's like, tus novios, your boyfriends? And I was like, no, no más uno. Like, nope, just one, you know, just joking around. He's like, ¿qué cochina eres? Tell me like, you know, like what a sicko you are. And I was like, okay. All right, that's how I did it. Okay. Mrs. Baltimore comes out of the restroom, and she's like, ¿Qué pasó? As she's tying up her hair, okay? Because I'm guessing she had just like thrown up or something, because she's like preggers. Oh my god, to be pregnant. I love being pregnant, even though it whoops my culo. I was like, está enojado porque, I'm like, he's mad because I'm messaging my boyfriend. And then she's like, why do you care? Like tells him, so like, why do you care? He's like, nah, like she's over here doing like sus novios, boyfriends, whatever. She's like, yeah, ¿Y qué? Like telling him like, and what? Like let her have plenty of boyfriends, Alexis, before you get married, before you get pregnant, So now she's like giving me like advice, right? And she's like telling me like, have so many boyfriends before you get pregnant. He's like, don't tell her that. She's like, why not? Sam hears like the ruckus, comes downstairs, and she's like, what's going on? And then Baltimore's like, your dad's mad because Alexis is messaging him boyfriends. And then she's like, oh, boyfriends? And I was like, boyfriends, like just joking around. And then he's like, on the table, okay? So like aloud, like, oh, it's not funny. I already told you. Don't let me tell you again. And I was like, well, technically, I was trying to be funny, right? Because we were all laughing. I was like, well, technically you already did, you know? So I was like, technically, like, ¿qué? And so it was just like silence. So it was like one of those moments where you're like, ooh, just kidding. But it was like, okay. And then Sam's like, you don't care that I talk to boys? And then he looks at her. He's like, don't start. Sí, cierto, I do care. And she's like, not like that. And then he's like, sí, yes, I do. And if you're gonna be like that, no puedes hablar con nadie. Like you can't. If you're gonna be like that, you can't talk to nobody. And then she's like, okay. And so we're all kind of like, the fuck? Baltimore asked, I think Baltimore could feel like what was going on. So she asks me like, who's taking you home? And I was like, oh, I was gonna walk. She's like, no, like I'll take you. And I'm like, okay. And then Mr. Peach asks, like, already? Like she just started, whatever. She's like, yeah, I need her help with like some stuff, whatever. And then he's like, what? She's like, I need some help with some stuff. And like just looks at him like that. And he's like, because I had barely just started, y'all. Like barely just started. Like I just got to the dishes and like we're already like, okay. So I was like, okay, because I was like, I was expecting like I still was gonna say that, right? So I get in the car, Baltimore, her stuff around and everything, and I'm kind of like trying to look to see like if you went to the clinic, like what's going on, right? And so I get in the car and then she's like, what's going on? And I was like, with what? And then she's like, with Mr. Peach, why is he like that? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. And I was telling her kind of like, you know, like I don't feel comfortable. So I was pretty much trying to tell like any adult that I could, like I don't feel like, I don't know. And I don't want people to get the wrong idea either that like sickly we had anything, because we didn't. And it was just weird. It's very weird when someone comes like possessive over you, when it's like you grown as hell, you nasty, and it's not even giving me like dad protective vibes, it's giving me like cochino vibes. All of a sudden everyone wants to message me. She's like telling me and stuff like just to like stay out of his way, that he's like really just stressed out right now, and that he sees like there's a lot of potential in me and everything, and that I'm a very beautiful girl. And I was like, oh, because she always tells me I look like a boy. She always calls me ugly. And she's like, God, get thin. Like when I get ready and stuff, like I can, you know, pretty much when I put my stuff together, I look really, really good. And so I was like, okay, like, you know, just like joking around, trying to be in a good mood. It's so weird because sometimes I can be like at a 10 and be like, and then I can be like at a 0 where I'm like, what is love? Just kidding, but like for real, I really can. It's either 0 or 10. There's no medium. So I was feeling like a 10. And she tells me that she needs me to go to the store with her, and I'm like, okay. She's like, you're gonna be helping me around. And she's like, and I'm not paying you, they're paying you. And I'm like, okay. I didn't want to go into that whole situation because I was like, oh, I'm not gonna get into it because he's gonna be like, you left with her, blah, blah, blah. So we go to the store and she's like pretty much just getting like those lollipops that help her with like throwing up, you know? So I was like, so are you excited? And she's like, about what? And I was like, about having a baby. She's like, And I was like, ¿por qué? She's like, no sé. And I was like, okay. So we're just like getting the stuff, and she gets a phone call. She's like, yeah, I'm still with her. And she's like, no, not until a little bit later. Okay, like pretty much telling this person like, I'm still with her. I'm not gonna drop her off until a little bit later. Don't call me again. I told you that I needed some time. So I was like, that sounds pretty serious to me. I'm on my phone, I'm texting Joe, and I'm like, hey, I think I should be done around like this time. Maybe me and you can like hang out or something like that. Low key, y'all, I don't know what I was feeling, but I was just like really trying to like give Joe a second chance, right? Me and her were talking, and she was like pretty much telling me that like, how would I feel if she had a baby? And I mean this with like all respect. I told her like, I wouldn't really care. She's like, what? I was like, I wouldn't really care. Like it's, and I know I probably hurt her feelings because she probably thinks like, I don't know, like I give a f at her, but I don't. So yeah, she's like, well, you're not watching my kid. And I was like, wasn't planning to. She's like, ¿qué? And I was like, so like she was upset that like I was giving her what she was giving me, because it's like, bitch. So we go to Mr. Peach's house, and I'm like, what the heck? So she has like groceries and stuff and like those like, you know, those things that she helped her get better. So we're putting stuff away and I was like, oh, so you're staying here? And then she's like, for the meantime, until Mrs. Peach calms down. And I was like, oh, I was like, why is she even upset? Like, it's not like if it's Mr. Peach's. She's putting the stuff away. She's like, uh-huh. I was like, uh-huh, ¿qué? I was like, it's Mr. Peach's? And then she's like, it's just complicated. She's like, but no, but everything is just complicated. So when she said that, I was like, y'all don't even know. Like, y'all don't even know. So she was probably messing with her boo, probably messing with the Peach, and she didn't know, right? Me and Joe were talking whatever as the day was passing by. I'm putting stuff away, kind of cleaning up around Mr. Peach's house, whatever. And I told her, like, I don't want to be here when he gets here. She's like, no, está bien, está bien. And so I'm telling her, like, my friend's gonna come pick me up. And she's like, okay. Because I did not want to get there when Mr. Peach was there. Because I was like, I don't want to get in trouble. I'm talking to Joe. We're kind of getting along. I say kinda because like it was going really good, and then he started getting like really dry. Like, you know how you can just catch a vibe through a text? I was catching the vibe. I tell him like, oh, so you're gonna pick me up? Like, can't wait to see you. And he was like, yup. And then he starts with like the dot, like the. I tell her like I'm getting ready to leave, like he's like 5 minutes away. She's like, okay. She's on the couch and stuff. I gave her a cobija because she asked me to give her a blanket. Got her a blanket. She told me, can you give me a pillow? Got her a pillow. Her feet are kicked up. Like, she looked really comfortable for being the Sencha. Like, too comfortable. Anything else? And she's like, can you give me a little cafecito? And I was like, okay, I can do a little coffee. Do a little coffee, do a little thing, whatever. Because I was like, when I'm nice, I'm nice, okay? So I was like getting everything ready, going to the restroom, kind of like freshen up a bit, like, okay. You know? So then he texts me here, period. I'm like, something's up. So I get in the car, I'm like all happy to see him. I'm like, hey, like, you know, like smiles and stuff. I go for a hug and he gives me like the shoulder. He's like, like that. I was like, okay. So where are we going? He's like, I don't know. Where you want to go? And I was like, I don't know. Where you want to take me? And then he's like, where I want to take you? Like, why I gotta pay? I was like, okay. I'm not a gold digger, bitch, okay? So I was like, who said that you were gonna pay? I was like, why can't I pay? Why do you assume that like I'm poor? I didn't say all that. I was like, do you want to hang out? He's like, I don't even know. Then why'd you come? I'm like, why are you acting weird? Like, why are you acting weird? Like, why are you being stupid? So we kind of start arguing. He like takes off. As he's taking off, Mr. Peach is driving in his car. Perfect timing. I hate that. He's driving. And the only reason why I know that it was Mr. Peach is because we heard a honk. I look up and see Mr. Peach and he's all, yeah, like that, okay? And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I say that in the car. I'm like, oh, okay. And then Joe's like, what? And I was like, see how he looked at me? And then he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, that's not weird to you? And then he's like, I guess. You guessed what, Joe? Like, I'm telling you, like, you don't have to do any guess because I gave you the answer right there. There's no guessing. I gave you the answer. So we're driving and then he pulls by this like park. We park there and it's just silence, you guys, for like 20 minutes. I'm not even exaggerating, 20 minutes of just like weird silence. And so I'm feeling weird and I'm like, so are you gonna tell me like what's up? And he's like, are you gonna tell me what's up? I'm like, nothing. Like, I wanted to see you before like I take off tomorrow. And I was like really hoping that like, I don't know, we can like talk and stuff, like we like each other, you know? He's like, I thought we liked each other. Like I thought that's like what like I was feeling, but like I don't even know anymore. I was like, oh, okay. He finally tells me that he hears that I have boyfriends. Now, if men ain't as gossipy as women, I don't know. Men are just as bad. You know how like men tell or talk a lot of shit on the internet and they're like, women this, women that? Y'all. Because I was joking with Mr. Peach. I don't know how we got back to Joe, but Joe's dad. I heard that you were talking to boyfriends and I guess I'm one of them. So I didn't know I was like doing competition. And I was like, you're not. This is what happened. So I told him and stuff. And then he's like, pretty much like, who says that? Even jokingly. And I was like, me. He's like, but why? Like, I thought you were different. I was like, so I make a joke and you're gonna take it like that serious? Like you're that insecure? I'm not insecure, man. Like, I know you get mad when I say this, but like, do you see me? And I'm like, no, okay. So then in my head, I'm like, oh, okay, there it is. And he's like, I don't know why you even get mad that I'm so confident. I'm like, it's not even about being confident. Like, you can be confident without the cockiness, and you're cocky for no reason, and it's unattractive. So yeah, I was like, either take me home or you can leave me here. And then he's like, I think I'm gonna leave you here. I was like, all right, cool. So I get off and I go on the swings right away. I text Mrs. Bubbles. I was like, hey, I don't know what your husband told Joe, but I guess he thinks like I have boyfriends. I was like, I don't. It's just like a really bad thing of miscommunication. Joe's leaving me here. And I was like, can you come please pick me up? And she's like, oh my God, yes, give me the address. And so I give her the address and Joe's like, looks at me, goes like this, and I'm like, so like my anxiety is like, oh, you guys, I don't know where this park's at. I'm not really familiar around this area. And I'm like, I'm gonna die. So the only way that I could tell Bubbles like where I was, it was like, I'm by this tree, by this bush, and by this and by that. So I pretty much gave her Mr. Peach's address and I told her like the park around there. I don't know how she did it. I don't know if there was like a thing of GPS back then, but she figured it out and she found me. And by the time she found me, I am bawling. And Joe's messaging me, telling me like, I fucking hate you. I knew it. I knew you were one of those girls and you're so grimy. I can't believe you. I can't believe you slept with him. It's just being like disrespectful, saying like, I can't believe you're a hoe. And I don't know how it got from like me just saying like boyfriends, like joking around, how it got to like, you're grimy, this and that. Like, I can't believe you let me go on a date with you. Like so much. And I'm like, what? Like, how did it like transpire into this? Like, what? Like, it went for it, seriously, the effect of telephone is crazy. It went from like this thing to like this, you slept with him, da, 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 da. You're still talking to him, da, da, da. You ain't like, it was just like, what? Like, it literally like grew from like so much. And I'm like crying, like in tears. Like, have you ever begged someone to believe you? It's so like humiliating, devastating, and pathetic. Like, that's how I felt. I'm telling him like, what are you talking about? Like, I haven't been with him like so long. Like, yeah, he messaged me, but I didn't message back. How am I supposed to believe you? Like, he was acting like we were in a relationship. Like, bitch, we weren't. We were just hanging out. He's saying like all these mean things. Like, you're just like your mother. I was like, you're just like this. He's like, no wonder why you like hanging out with the Peaches. You're just like them. I was like, pretty much called me out of my name, saying like, I can't believe I had feelings for you. I can't believe I even loved you. And I'm like, okay, you're dramatic. Like, you're dramatic. Like, I'm over here reading it in my head, fighting with myself, and then being like, oh my God. Like, oh my God. So he's reading me first. And the more I keep telling him like, I have not been with the ex. Like, I have not. And I can't believe this. And I'm like, who are you hearing? It doesn't matter who I'm hearing it from. And I'm like, yeah, it does. Like, what are you talking about? Like, yes, like, give me the benefit of the doubt. And I'm like, not even because like I wanted to be with you, but because like we're friends. Like, I can't believe like I was gonna be with you. He's like, nah, you play too many games. I'm like, how is that playing too many games? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, what? So I start messaging Skillet. I'm like, dude, like, this guy's tripping out over me. Like, I don't know. I played a joke with Mr. Peach, and I told him like, yeah, I was messaging my boyfriend. So I was like pretty much calling her, like letting her know like what was going on. And she's like, what? He wilding? Like, he probably guilty of something. And I was like, I didn't even think about that. Like, I didn't even think about that. She's like, I'm gonna find out and like I'll hit you up. I'm like, okay, cool. So as she's doing that, Bubbles finds me and I'm like, like in distraught. And then she's like, get in the car, baby. Oh my God, I can't believe he left you. I'm gonna be his ass. Like, she's like really mad, and I'm like hyperventilating. I was like, I don't know what happened. I was like, can I explain to you? And she's like, yeah, go ahead, baby. You don't have to if you don't want to. I was like, no, like, can I explain to you? Like, can I explain to you like what happened? Like, what happened? And she's like, yes. And I was like, okay, I was with Mr. Peach and we're in the house, and I was like telling her and stuff like that. And she's like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, that's what happened. And she's like, that's what Joe said. And I was like, yeah. And I said this and I said that. And then she's like, Mija, like, what? And I was like, I know. She's like, I can't believe Joe's acting like that. So then she's on her phone as she's driving, and I'm like, and she's like, we're gonna go to the house. I was like, no, I don't want to see Joe. And she's like, no, I'm gonna tell him not to come home for a while, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I don't want to go. And then I'm like, can we go somewhere else? And then she's like, yeah, that's fine. So then we end up going to like this freaking little like place to go eat, whatever. But I cannot eat. I could not eat. Like, I was so like, what? Joe took it as far as going onto MySpace and calling me a freaking puta, a hoe. Okay, he pretty much said that he couldn't believe that the girl that he thought was so perfect was a hoe and was doing him dirty. That pretty much all the girls are the same. That they only want one thing, and that was his money. And I'm like, I never, Skillet's messaging me, telling me like everything that he's posting online. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, so everyone is like commenting under his thing, like, well, I'm so sorry, like, girls are this, girls are that, she seems like the type, blah blah blah, like not even giving me the benefit of the doubt. So y'all, They were just like, oh, I knew it. Calling me trailer trash. The exes freaking that he would like do stuff with is commenting, like laughing, laugh out loud. I knew it. It was too good to be true, blah, 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 blah. She did the same to the ex. Bitch, oh, wait, like, oh my God. And so all this is like, all this drama. And I'm like, okay. So I got some of my friends messaging me like, you good, girl? Like, oh my God, what happened? Like, I want to hear your side. Some people are like, I knew you would do him like that. And like, so I was just like, so all because of a grown ass man, Sam messages me and she's like, oh my God, like, are you okay? And for a minute, I thought it was her. For a minute, I thought it was Sam because I was like, she was in the room. Like, I thought it was Sam. But no, it was a grown ass man. Grown ass man called Joe's dad. Because why would Sam, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I was like, it was just a joke. Like, I can't believe your dad took it there. She's like, I know, Mrs. Peach is like so pissed off right now. Baltimore messages me, ¿estás bien? And I was like, like this was like some, like me and Bubbles are talking and she's like, I'm gonna talk to my husband. Like, he was just looking out for Joe. I think it just like escalated more than it needed to. It doesn't make it right. I'm just like, you know, you gotta kind of understand from like our point of view, like that's our son. And I was like, I know, but like I wouldn't, like I don't understand. So I'm like super like crying and I'm kind of even getting pissed off like at Bubbles because I'm like, I was starting to think like, I thought y'all were family, like, you know. So I was like, ugh. I tell Joe off. I read him for filth, and I go a little below the belt, which I shouldn't have, which I won't go into depth here, but I went below the belt, okay? And he finally messages me back and says, wow, you bitch. And I was like, you're welcome. Bubbles asks me like where I want to go. I was like, you can just drop me back off home, like that's fine. So I get dropped back off at home. My mom's still not there. Okay, she's still locked up. I'm having to deal with this like weird freaking thing that's going on social media and I don't even know what's going on. Like, I keep messaging on MySpace to the people who are saying stuff like, that's not true. I did not cheat on my ex. I did not do that. He did this to me. What are you talking about? I would never do that. Like, me and Joe are not even together. Skillet asks me like, hey, where are you at? Can I come over? Yeah, go ahead, come over, let's chill. I'm like contemplating if I should even go to the freaking thing because of Mr. Peach. Like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I'm just like pissed off. I text Mr. Peach. I don't know if I want to go. I was telling you this as a joke of the boyfriends. I can't believe you told Joe's dad. Please don't contact me. I am very upset. People are bullying me. I don't want to be alive. That's what I said because I didn't. I know it sounds really dramatic, but I didn't. I was just like, oh my God. It just felt like so much. Like, bullying is a real thing. Like, I hope y'all ain't bullying people because people really be taking their lives. Don't be bullying people. Don't be a bully. Don't be ugly. He proceeds to call. Ring, 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 ring. Nope. Declined all of them. Skillet's already coming over. Skillet comes over. My mom's friend was okay with it. She was like, you know, it's fine. Yeah. I'm telling you details where I was just like, I gotta get to the good stuff. So then, me and Skillet are talking, and she's like pretty much telling me that Joe is still kicking it with the other girl. You know who. So I was like, what? That doesn't make sense. Like he keeps saying like, he's just waiting on me. He's just waiting on me. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So right away I start messaging Joe and I was like, you mother, like, you have been messing with so-and-so and this is why you're doing this. This is why you jumped on it so, you know, so quick to like be so rude to me. He messages me back and says, what? Are you effing dumb? I haven't even been messaging her. I haven't even talked to her. And I was like, she told me everything. Even though she didn't, Skillet did. I was like, you told me, I'm like, you told me everything. He's like, we need to talk. Now we need to talk? Now we need to talk? Okay. Okay, so Mr. Peach is ring, ring, ring. As I'm trying to message Joe, he keeps trying to come in and I'm like, oh God. And so like I keep answering on accident and I'm like, oh my God, my mustache is itching. So I'm like upset. Mr. Peach message comes in. I didn't say anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, right. So I tell Joe and stuff. I'm like, so who? I'm like, it was your dad that told you, right? And then he's like, why does it matter? But Joe already had told me it was his dad that had told him. So I was like, it matters very much. I was like, I'm going to quit my job because that's not like how I said it. Like, I am going to quit my job. So I need to confirm that that's what your dad said. He said, yeah, my dad's the one who told me. And I was like, okay, cool. So even though he was still being like an ass, he was still like messaging me at the same time. It's toxic. Bubbles messages me, hey Alexis, I just talked to my husband, hope everything's well. Like, this has been blown out of proportion. It shouldn't have gone this far. I just talked to Joe, he's deleting everything and he is grounded. I go onto MySpace to check, like, everything's deleted. Okay, but the damage is done. The damage is done. Have girls messaging me saying like, oh my God, you hurt Joe. Like, I love Joe. I will fight for Joe. Have girls messaging me, calling me a freaking whore, that they knew it, this and that. People tell me that I'm gonna be just like my mom. People tell me that they knew it. Now they are gonna believe the ex and stuff. And just like, it was just like how quick everyone just went. Skillet is trying to like comfort me, and I was like, oh my god, girl, like I'm so sorry. And I'm like, okay. So I unblocked that girl that Joe was talking to, because remember I had blocked her. I unblocked her and I was like, hey, I just have a couple questions. Like me and Joe have been, I told her we have been messing around, even though we weren't like sexually. We've been messing around. I just want to know, like, are you messing around with it too? Quickness. She wrote me back, yeah, we have. And I was like, that's all I needed. Okay. And took a picture. And then I blocked her again. And then I just had confirmation. Joe is continuing to like call me private, okay? And I think it was either him or the ex that kept doing it, because the ex would call me too and I would answer. And the ex had like this weird like he thought it was funny. It wasn't. It was creepy. And Joe was just like kind of silent. And I'd be like, hey. And then I hang up, because I'm like, well, I'd hang up. He's like saying that we need to talk and not to be messaging so-and-so, that she's not gonna even tell the full truth. And I'm like, shut the f. You did not give me the benefit of the doubt. You went straight for my head. I never want to talk to you again. Stupid. You're done. Like, he was writing posts saying that I was a freaking hoe and that it was so easy and that he got to do all kinds of stuff with me, which he didn't. He didn't. And I don't care what he says. He didn't. He didn't. So I was like, wow, you're just like one of them. Like, you're pathetic, you're stupid, you're dumb. Yeah, you can't even pick one, because you're all of them. All of them. We hear a knock at the door. I thought it was Mr. Peach. I was like, oh shit. I got all scared. Okay, my mom's friend's like, Alexis, who's at the door? I was like, I don't know. She goes to the door and it's Joe. I wish I had a hat, because this is how he was. He had the hat on. He's like, is Alexis here? Like that. And she looked back at me. She's like, you want to talk to him? I was like, She's like, no. Boom, slams the door in his face. And I was like, that's crazy. I was kind of happy, but I felt kind of bad, because I was like, oh, that's f***ed up. It was like, you're crazy, go talk to him. Like, go talk to him. Like, blow this out. Go talk to him. Go talk to him. I was like, all of a sudden switching up, and now you like him. And so I get on my shoes, and my mom's friend's like, why are you gonna go outside? Just let it be done. There's a lot of fish out there, pretty much trying to give me a speech. And I was like, shut up. Not physically I said shut up. I said in my head like shut up. I was like, I'm gonna go talk to him. So I go, and he's waiting right outside the door. He was always on pose mode, so he had his like leg up, kicked up to the thing. He had his hat on, and he's like, so like he knew I was gonna come out, or either it was like paper thin and he can hear, or he's just that cocky, like he knew. He's like, so are we gonna talk? I was like, about what, Joe? About what? Like all mad. Okay, I'm like, about what? Skillet comes out the door, and she's like, why are you even talking to him? And like smiles and closes the door. I'm like, you're annoying. You're annoying. You're dumb. So he was like, can we talk? Like, I need to talk to you, because like I didn't know you were gonna message her, and like, dude, like that just caused so many problems. Like, you know what that did to me? And I was like, to you? Like, do you know what you did to me? And I was like, you're really just gonna like what I did, but you're not gonna think about like what you did? I'm gonna leave it at that. This has been super freaking long, you guys. My freaking butt is numb. It's, oh my god. I started recording like a long time ago. Okay, I will do part 2. I promise you guys. And I'm not gonna take long, I promise. Even if I'm not doing my makeup and we're cooking or something, I'm gonna do a story time and I will get that out for you guys. I love you guys so freaking much. Thank you guys so much for all your love and support. Te quiero mucho. I really, really do appreciate it. You guys are amazing. You guys are the best, and it never goes unnoticed. I want you guys to know that you guys mean everything to me from the bottom of my heart. I love you guys so much. Besos a todos, and I'll see you guys in my next story time. Check out my vlog. I love you guys. Bye.